So in this video, I want to talk about why like building muscle is the closest thing to have like an anti-aging drug, right? Because we live in a society where, so many people try to preserve their youth. They're willing to, take drugs, medication, or, go through cosmetic surgery just to preserve that youth. And if you're someone like me, that tries to stay away from that, or is very particular with what you put in your body, then I like to do it the natural way. And the best way to do that is by getting fit, building muscle, and obviously a proper diet. Okay, so I still have friends that talked about, damn, 20 years later, you still look the same, minus hair. I used to have a little bit more hair on myself, but, obviously building muscle and get it fit can only do so much. But at the same time, they still like, hey, you haven't changed much. And that's because, you maintain a healthy lifestyle. You're not consuming too much alcohol. You're not smoking, doing drugs, and you're just in the gym. So in this video, let's talk about some of the ways that it does that, right? And obviously the first thing is boost hormones, right? Because the more muscles you have, the higher your testosterone levels, better growth hormone. And we all know that as you age, these are the hormones that tend to go away, right? But if you want to maintain these things or even increase it, you just hit the gym, like lift heavy, just lift weights, right? These are like the best ways to do it naturally and without all these drugs, right? Just going to the gym, lifting heavy stuff, boost up testosterone levels. And for me, that's always been the case. It's just you want to make sure you're maintaining those levels. Just hit the gym, and that's one of the benefits of doing that. It also speeds up metabolism. For a lot of people, they talk about, oh man, I can't lose weight like because I got a slow metabolism. Well, if you want to speed it up, lift some weights, because remember, your body burns energy just by just breathing, right? By being alive. Like your body just it burns calories on its own just by sitting there. But if you want to boost it or increase that, then you want to add some muscle, because your body has to say, oh damn, I got to feed these muscles. They constantly need energy, right? And the more energy that's being burned, the more calories that you're going to be burning. Okay, so and it's like feeding a car like some premium fuel, right? That car engine is burning that fuel because it's that proper fuel. It needs that fuel in order to function properly. Right? Same thing with your body. Okay, put muscles on your body. It's gonna be constantly needing fuel. You're gonna want to eat a lot. When you're building muscle, you're gonna constantly be hungry a lot, which is kind of a good thing because it allows you to eat the things that you want, obviously on a reasonable level. But for me, it's just like you're constantly feeding your body because you gotta constantly provide your muscles nutrients. It also protects your joints and your posture. And I think for a lot of people, one of the best ways to do that, you want to make sure that you're functioning properly. You're protecting your joints. I remember when I tore my ACL in college playing flag football, and I remember leaving college. I never got it fixed. Years later, I went to go play football again, and it gave out on me again. And I was like, all right, Ralph, you need to get this fixed. And I remember people telling me like, hey, before you have the surgery, make sure you do the prehab. So I was like, and of course I was already in the gym, but I was like, all right, before I have that surgery, I'm gonna make sure to really work out harder on my, on my right knee. So I was obviously doing one-legged leg presses, squats and stuff like that to make sure I really get it strong. And after I was done with the surgery, I remember the doctor talking about how, first of all, I had a friend talk about, when he had surgery on his ACL, he couldn't bend his knee at a 90-degree level for like a month. And I remember the doctor also saying that you won't be able to drive for like a month. I had the surgery on Monday. First of all, I bent my knee was bending in a 90-degree angle by Friday, and by the next following week, I was driving my car. So I don't know if that obviously prehab had anything to do with it, but the fact that I was in shape and fit, I'm pretty sure it helped with the recovery. Right. And I think a lot of people talk about that. It's like, make sure you're prehabbing because it helps give you a faster recovery time. And that's a good thing. Right. And I was able to get back in the gym and still go and work out. And these are things that you want to do, like maintain your joints and then obviously, improve your posture. And these are things that obviously, to be functional, these are the things that you want to work on. It also, helps with fighting disease and sickness. Okay. Right. And we all know that, like, if you want to find a way to speed up your aging process, man, be someone that's always sick. Right. We see how people that's always sick, the way they look, they just look much older than they actually are. And, obviously during like COVID time, I remember when we was all locked up, they were telling people to stay inside and of course take the shot. I'm like, why I gotta do all that? Right. Why can't I just, go outside, get some sun and then, hit the gym? Right. That's where I know, because I know by hitting the gym, getting outside, I'm allowing my body to do what it's meant to do. right? Fight off disease, fight off sickness, right? Because that's what your system, your immune system is there for, right? Just to take a shot is just like, I mean, that's just cheating. I don't want to do that. I want to let my body process and do what it's capable of doing. And I think for me, it's like building muscle, staying in shape, getting fit helps with all that. And we all know that people that, obviously it doesn't protect always, man. There's things where you can get, even the fittest person can get cancer and get sick. But I think you give yourself a better chance when you're, obviously taking care of your body and staying fit and building muscle. Okay. It also, keeps you functional, right? Because we know as we age, falling is an issue, breaking bones, losing mobility. These are all things that come with aging. And obviously, like, to protect against that, building muscle helps make sure that, you're prolonging these issues, right? Right? You're building stability. You're improving your core, strengthening your core, strengthening your legs. And especially as you get older, because for me, like, as I get older, right, I don't want to be, 60, 70, 80 years old and, requiring assistance. Okay, I don't want to be that person where, I'm like, damn, I'm 70 and I need to be like carried everywhere. I don't want to do that. I want to be able to, even in my 70s, and I've seen, we see 70-year-olds and even 80-year-olds like, damn, they don't even look like it. They're still functioning. They're still able to maintain themselves, and they're still able to do the things that they want to do. I want to be that person. All right, I want to be able to make sure that I'm not a burden on anyone else. I'm able to take care of myself to a better extent, and obviously, making sure I maintain a fit lifestyle helps me do that. Right? I want to be lifting weights until I'm dead. Right? I don't care how much weights. Like, I'm gonna be my 80 years old and I'm still doing bench presses or squats if I can do it. I might just be lifting a bar, but I'll take anything. So I think obviously, like, building muscle is a way to stay functional. And finally, it improves energy and mood. Right? And I think, as I talked about before, it's like, for a lot of men, hormone levels are declining, in society. And that could be for a lot of various reasons. But, like I said, building muscle is and like I said, and not only that, but we all understand, like, especially as a man, like testosterone is a very important thing, for maintaining, good, good energy and mood, right? Losing testosterone, you can get cranky, you get depressed, right? These things like really impact men that that are low on testosterone. So, that's why for me, it's important to make sure I'm constantly lifting, making sure I'm keeping my energies high, maintaining muscle, because I want to maintain those testosterone levels so I can maintain good energy and a good mood, right? So this is why, like I said, that's why I said that muscles is the closest thing to, like, anti-aging drug, because, it provides you all the benefits that, people inject, swallow, buy, and it gives you all these things naturally and for free. So for me, like, hey, if you want to improve your energy, your mood, maintain good testosterone levels, hit the gym, lift some weights, all right? You ain't got to be super bulky and ripped and yoked up. You just got to make sure you're building some muscle and staying lean. All right. So those are my thoughts. Interested to hear your thoughts. Make sure you leave a comment down below with the like button, share, and if you haven't done so, then make sure to subscribe. So you guys take care. Have a good one. Later.